Hey, it's your pal Palamation, and today I decided to do something a little more laid back. One of my favorite things to do with my friends is to make lists of our top favorite things, such as favorite characters, games, consoles, etc. I have a lot of fun doing it, so I figured making some lists of my top favorite things is just an obvious thing for me to do. Plus everyone else is doing it, so why not? While working on these videos and animations, I've been listening to a lot of video game music. I've also been using them as my inspirational workout tunes. So with these songs constantly in my ears, I thought I'd make a video to go through my top 5 favorite video game composers. Pretty much anything goes, the amount of music made doesn't matter as long as it's video game music. So without further ado, let's get into it. At number 5 we have Martin O'Donnell. O'Donnell funnily enough got his start by making jingles for the Flintstones Vitamins commercials. So it's partially thanks to him that we all ended up super swole. His first foray into video game music was on the 1997 title Ribbon. From there he was contracted by Bungie and eventually composed the soundtrack for Halo Combat Evolved. And well, we all know how great that worked out. I'm normally not a huge FPS gamer, but I do have a deep love for the Halo series, and his music plays a major role in that. O'Donnell's music perfectly encapsulates the Halo series, from sad, somber moments to high-intensity action. He managed to use his work to create the perfect atmosphere and help craft some of the most iconic moments in gaming. Fun fact, the Halo 2 soundtrack is one of the best-selling video game soundtracks in US history. Now let's listen to some of his iconic work. In the number 4 spot, we have Nobuo Uematsu. Some of you may be surprised he isn't higher on this list, but this is my list, so shut up. Uematsu joined Square Enix in 1985, though back then the company was just called Square, which led to him eventually composing music for the Final Fantasy series, which is what he's most known for. Though he left the company in 2004 to pursue a freelance career, he still returns time and time again to do music for the Final Fantasy series. Fun fact, he is also a musician and has performed in several bands such as the Black Mages, where he was the keyboardist. He is often referred to as the Beethoven of video game music, as he specializes in epic orchestral pieces. Even back when his music was nothing but various beeps and boops, he still managed to give them an orchestral sound. He was a master of creating adrenaline-pumping battle songs, as well as emotional pieces that pull on your heartstrings. A prime example of this being one of my all-time favorite songs, Aeris' theme from Final Fantasy VII. Since I brought it up, let's listen to it, as well as a few other great tracks. For number 3 we have David Weiss. This one was a toughie as the composer for my number 2 spot barely ranked above him. Weiss has always been musically inclined and actually became a composer more by chance. He was working in a music shop where he was demonstrating a Yamaha CX-5 music computer for 2 men. After telling the men he wrote and programmed the music in the demonstration, they revealed themselves to be Rare's founders and offered him a job. He then went on to compose music for the Donkey Kong Country series, which is what he's most known for. He mastered the limited sounds the Super Nintendo could produce and used environmental noises such as lava bubbling and pickaxe clangs to add a level of immersion unlike any other game. The song Crook's March really conveys his understanding of the levels he was working with, as its initially dark tune soon picks up and turns hopeful, perfectly creating the feeling of overcoming your obstacles and narrowing in on your goal. His song Forest Interlude is my favorite, and it's actually the song I used for my end card in each video. After leaving Rare in 2009, he returned to make music for the Donkey Kong Country Returns series, as well as joined Grant Kirkhope, the composer for Banjo-Kazooie, in composing for Yooka-Laylee, a sort of spiritual successor to Banjo-Kazooie. Fun fact for Weiss, the site Overclock Remix, a popular site that makes remixes for video game songs, actually managed to get Weiss to remix his own song for their Donkey Kong Country 2 remix album, Serious Monkey Business. Rather than keep explaining his songs, let's give some of them a listen. At number 2, we have the big one, the most famous video game composer known to man, Koji Kondo. Koji Kondo's career with Nintendo began when his university posted an ad for a job at Nintendo on their job placement board. Kondo had a love for arcade games, so he applied for the job and has been with the company ever since. He then went on to compose for game series such as The Legend of Zelda, Star Fox, and of course Super Mario. He composed the main theme for Super Mario Bros., which is only the most iconic song in video game history. He worked solo for the beginning of his career, with Ocarina of Time being the last composition he did alone, choosing to collaborate with others on all games since. I can't even describe his musical style, as he's proven to be a master of diversity. He can compose the bubbly, high-spirited songs used in Mario levels, then make a complete 180 and compose dark, eerie music for temples in Zelda. No matter how different the songs are, they always have one thing in common. They are truly memorable and never grow stale, no matter how long you listen, which was a personal goal of Kondo's. This man's music was such a huge part of my childhood, so now let's listen to some of his greatest works. And the number 1 spot goes to none other than Yoko Shimomura. Yoko began composing music when she was young by just playing the piano at random and writing down whatever she did. After graduating from Osaka College of Music in 1988, she planned to become a piano instructor. However, she was an avid gamer, so she sent samples of her work to various video game companies, eventually landing a job at Capcom. There she helped compose music for the Street Fighter series. In 1993, she left to work for Square, where she composed the soundtrack to Super Mario RPG and her most famous work, Kingdom Hearts. After leaving the company in 2003, she became a freelance composer. She continued her work for the Kingdom Hearts series, however, and returned to the Super Mario RPG scene to compose music for the Mario & Luigi series. Games like Mario and Kingdom Hearts proved to be the perfect soundtracks for Shimomura. as she has shown a mastery at creating lighthearted and fun battle beats, as well as emotional and epic pieces for when the going gets tough. Her use of piano and violin are my personal favorites, as she expertly weaves them into intense battle scenes to add an extra level of emotional depth. No matter what she's composing for, she always knows how to create the proper tone and atmosphere for every game she works on. She's truly the best composer I've ever heard, and well, I'll let you listen for yourself. So that's my top 5 video game composers. If you ever want some great study or workout music, I'd highly suggest listening to anyone on this list. These composers all contributed in crafting the music of my childhood, and most continue to provide my ears with sweet, sweet tunes to this day. Without the amazing scores created by these composers, my enjoyment of each game they worked on would have been drastically different. I hope to make more lists like this in the future, so it'd mean the world to me if you could like this video and hit that subscribe button. With that being said, it's been real, it's been fun, it's been real fun. Have a good one.